The landmark 2016 peace agreement between the government of Colombia and the guerrilla group FARC ended a 50-year conflict, as well as large-scale warfare. However, what it didn't do is eliminate the cocaine economy. The drug trade never stopped. New players stepped in, and the Ndrangheta was waiting in the cut to buy their product. Many people in Colombia hoped that the peace would weaken the cocaine trade. Conversely, numerous cartels competed for the territory once controlled by FARC units. Ndrangheta brokers established themselves as well as formed alliances directly with South American drug lords. Over and above that, the Calabrians handled drug shipments without worrying about exercising territorial control. Salvatore Mancuso was a former paramilitary commander and served as the link between the Calabrian Mafia and armed groups in Colombia. Mancuso's broker was an Italian entrepreneur who lived in Colombia named Giorgio Sale, who served as a key financial and logistical link between the Italians and the Colombian cartels, ensuring that the Italians had widespread control over cocaine trafficking. Another major player was Rocco Morabito, one of the most important cocaine brokers for the Ndrangheta. Morabito was essential in building direct cocaine supply lines from South America to Italy and Europe, making him one of the most important intermediaries between Latin American suppliers and his organization. Morabito was living as a fugitive since 1994 and was arrested after 23 years in September 2017, but escaped 2 years later while waiting for extradition back to Italy. At the time, he was in Montevideo, Uruguay, but was recaptured in May 2022 in Brazil. Throughout the years, there's been numerous arrests of top Ndrangheta members in South America. But as proof of the organization's stability is the solidarity of the Colombian-Calabrian connection. In 2025, the Colombians arrested Giuseppe Palermo, who handled a transnational network moving large-scale cocaine shipments to Europe. Essentially, he was the Ndrangheta's broker and connection between Colombian producers and the organization's distribution networks. He was arrested in Colombia during an anti-narcotics operation targeting international cocaine trafficking networks. And at the time, he was also a fugitive, and his presence in Colombia suggested he was there to move cocaine within trafficking networks. Palermo worked closely with Giuseppe Trimboli with cocaine importation between Colombia and Calabria. Trimboli would ensure the shipments would be offloaded without incident at the port of Gioiataro. Roberto Panuzzi was arguably the most important link in Colombia and acting as a broker who supplied both the Ndrangheta and the Sicilian Cosa Nostra. In fact, he's one of the first Italians to establish links with major Colombian suppliers, and was the person who helped the Ndrangheta bypass the middlemen and buy directly from the cartels. For years, Panuzzi was considered one of Italy's most wanted drug traffickers. And in July of 2013, Panuzzi was captured at a shopping mall in Bogota. He is widely referred to as the Pablo Escobar of Italy and considered the most influential narcotics broker of all time. This past January, Roberto Nastasi, a fugitive and Ndrangheta member, was arrested in Medellin. He was suspected of being the latest bridge between the Ndrangheta and the Colombians. If you think about it, the most powerful mafia in the world didn't rise in Italy, but 1,000 miles away in the mountains and jungles of Colombia. The real transformation of the Ndrangheta took place in South America. The cocaine trade changed everything, and Colombia became the global center of cocaine production. While the Sicilian Mafia, considered at one time the most powerful, was occupied with internal wars and weakened by massive arrests, the Ndrangheta quietly expanded. They gained control with access to Colombian cartels, and once they controlled supply, they controlled pricing, distribution, purity, logistics, and profit margins. That advantage alone created billions in revenue every year. To this day, coke is produced in Colombia, traffic is coordinated, logistics in South America, Containers move through global ports, Europe being the main market, and Calabria is the key entry point. Just about every arrest in Colombia, whether it's brokers, intermediaries, or fugitives, show the same repeated pattern. The clans that are most influential in dealing with the Colombians are the Plati, San Luca clans, the Camiso clan, which is part of the Sitdownnews group, multi-clan coalitions. No single clan is dominant in Colombia. The Ndrangheta negotiates with the Colombian suppliers, setting prices per kilo, arrangement of shipments, and payment structure. The Colombian cartels don't sell cocaine directly to Europe, and the Ndrangheta, obviously as mentioned, don't produce it. Instead, the two organizations meet in the middle through their respective brokers. Presently, the Ndrangheta acts and functions as service coordinators inside a wider criminal market, as a dominant wholesaler and logistics operator in Europe's cocaine economy. Once the cocaine enters Europe via Calabrian-controlled routes, it's often distributed to the Camorra and the Sicilian Mafia. The Ndrangheta imports it and sells the product in bulk. They arrange container shipments, coordinate concealment methods, and more crucially, manage port corruption. Aside from corrupted custom officers, warehouse workers, crane operators, trucking subcontractors, or port security, it's essential for them to know which containers will not be inspected using logistic insiders or subcontractors, and depending on predictable gaps in a system that's exploited repeatedly. Port corruption isn't about one bribe or a single corrupted officer. It's taking advantage of a system so large and so global that perfect control is utterly impossible. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sitdownnews, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. In a nutshell, the Ndrangheta had its claws dug deeply into Colombia for decades and sent key members acting in different capacities to form business relationships with the cartels, placing themselves as the kings of cocaine. And even with all the arrests over the years of their people in Colombia, it's never interfered with their control of the cocaine trade or their working relationship with the Colombian drug suppliers. An unbreakable system, one that made the Ndrangheta the most powerful mafia in the world.